I would build across the tropics of the earth. I think that that's the highest value in terms of quality of life and things that are able to be produced exist there. I think that anywhere that the sun shines and there's humidity is where the melanated people should thrive. I think the money would look like, it doesn't matter what the money looks like, it matters how it's regulated, right? Because it used to be cowrie shells in Africa, right? The problem there becomes when one person or one family can now own all of that, and then what is attached to that is infinite labor to make their reality...
Infinite labor.
Infinite labor to make their manifestations of reality consistently for generations and generations. So it doesn't really matter what it is. Gold is a great one, you know. It has been a universal currency, or let's say a planetary currency of Earth for thousands of years, right? The problem with what currency has now become is that you had people who didn't have things in their lands come to foreign lands, which is Africa, India, South America, take dirt out of the land or take stones and minerals out of the land. They worship that now and destroy the people. And that's one of the biggest problems, is where we are now, we as a people, I say all people on earth are now worshiping people who don't know what they're doing and don't understand or don't overstand the way to be able to take care of the planet, right? So now, who are the most worshipped men on earth, apart from religious figures that have since transitioned or existed or didn't exist or whatever, are now Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. These are the most worshipped men on the planet Earth, right? And they don't even have the wealth that the families that have helped them to get to where they are have. But these are the ones that are known. And these are the tech companies, right? I think what now looks like currency is technology, and it is technology based on these systems of manipulating electricity to create interfaces that are carbon-based or earth mineral-based, so that we can now share information, right? Share information, share stories, you know, catch a vibe, people be on social media. This is, you know, the new socialization, or a version of socialization. Without Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, that it really isn't a republic and really isn't democratic, without that country that has $24 trillion of these minerals in the ground, there is no wealth on earth right now, anywhere on earth. Every single government on earth now bases its wealth on the periodic table of minerals that can be extracted from Congo, right? So what it looks like for me is a sustainable economy is where you have this new tech revolution, which is, it is a revolution of earth that excludes the place where the minerals come from, right? So you have this tech revolution where data has now surpassed oil in value, but at the same time, the country where it comes from, which really isn't a country at all because there's so many different languages, it's the size of Western Europe. Congo has 80 million people in it, but it is 2.4 million kilometers squared, right? Where a lot of it is jungle. But the same minerals that are being extracted from Congo now have been found in Bolivia, have been found in Colombia, have been found in... It just seems like the jungle is where the real wealth and mineral wealth is coming from.
Absolutely.
And until you are able to create a sustainable system that has ecology, sustainability, ethicality, people are paid fair wages, they have equity, they have egalitarian systems based on the people where these minerals are coming from, there will be no peace on earth, I believe, until the countries where the wealth is coming from and the countries where the wealth has always come from are able to rule again. So what I would do, as there were in systems of old, I would put the black or the melanated woman at the top of all of these systems, whereby she can create peace and balance, where we can now create fierce leadership that is needed added into that, the protection that is needed, is the same minerals that are being taken out of these countries and being manipulated into weapons of mass destruction and weapons of destruction. We need to not only own these weapons, we need to be trained on these weapons, we need to be fearless when it comes to using these weapons to protect our people and to protect our systems. And if at which point the trade agreements become unfavorable, we need to completely disconnect and just create within our own economies of scale that have nothing to do with anything to do with the West. Because let's be honest, this whole idea, you've heard of this capitalist idea of the free market, right? Mm-hmm. Bullshit. How is it a free market when the countries where all of these minerals are coming from are not free? It can't be a free market.
Do you think that the two could coexist? Because why do you think that the fact, and there's two things I want to ask you, what thing you said about the black woman at the top of the hierarchy, and then two, you talk a lot about what happens in Congo and how these companies mine and then they leave, a path of devastation for the people that exist in those systems. Why don't you think that the two should be able to coexist where they mine, but then they take care of the people? Why don't you think that they actually do this? Why would it want to leave bad media, press, and the surrounding society, especially if you're making billions of dollars? It would seem to, at the minimum, be fair to take care of the people that's taking care of you.
Let me give a quick breakdown of Congo. So, like, post Kingdom of Congo and when the colonizers came into Congo and started enslaving people and taking them off to New Orleans and Jamaica and Brazil, the biggest port for enslaved Congolese people was actually Salvador de Bahia in Brazil. 1885, the Europeans decided in a conference called the Conference of Berlin. The Berlin Conference, they decided that what they would do is they would divide up Africa as their personal wealth. One evil man who we would liken to an advanced version of Adolf Hitler. He was like, I would say that he was Hitler's mentor, probably without ever meeting him. I don't know if they met or they didn't meet, but from 1885 until 1908, while Congo was under his personal rule, he and his administration killed 15 million Congolese people. Mm-hmm. So he over half the population of Congo for the production of rubber.
Yeah, he was worse than Hitler.
Way worse than Hitler. It's just because the people that died looked like me and you, and I would say didn't even look like me and you. They were way darker than me and you in complexion. Because those people died, it's not something that's being taught in school, right? But what happened was he basically organized the country and had railways built to extract this rubber and to extract wild ivory from elephants so that they could make piano keys. So everybody's got pianos, all these antique pianos in their house. That's like dead elephants. And then the tires at the time that were being made were being made from the slave labor of Congolese people. And if they didn't meet the rubber quotas, which came every 2 weeks, then the wives of the men that they were kidnapping and putting in cages would then be raped, mutilated, have their hands cut off, have their feet cut off. And now in Belgium, to this very day, you can go to chocolatiers and you can buy the hands and the feet as little chocolates. They'd only do them in brown and black dark chocolate and milk chocolate. They don't do them in white chocolate.
Belgium chocolate.
Belgium chocolate, which not a single cocoa tree grows in Belgium, right? And so 1908, the Belgian government was embarrassed by the atrocities that were being caused by King Leopold, even though Belgium was developing off the back of it, and they took it over from 1908 until 1960.
Well, they claim that they didn't know everything that he was doing while benefiting economically from it.
There's a place called I can't remember what it's called, the Centenaire something. Google it. Someone Google it. But it's basically like their big palace and all of their royalty that was built and their great buildings that people now still go to there for tourism were built off the back of this slavery, which was 100% profit, of course.
I mean, they just tore down the statue. Was it 2020?
Right, of Leopold. Yeah. It's like, all right, you got your 130 years of like aggrandization, and only now, when we're fully developed, and
that is viral on social media.
Right.
Then we take it down.
Right. So 1908 1960 was the rule of the Belgian government, and they had, again, the same thing that Leopold was doing. Interestingly enough, if you actually study the history of Congo, it was actually Arab Muslims that were going into Congo from East Africa and enslaving Congolese under the idea of the Holy Muslim Empire that allowed King Leopold of Belgium to go in and say, well, we need to Christianize them. So there was already slavery going on in Congo by this point anyway. So like after the fall of the Kingdom of Congo, kind of at the end of the 17th century, that was when like mass kind of enslavers came in, first from Arabia and East Africa under the administration of Mecca, Saudi Arabia, these places. And then afterwards it was King Leopold of Belgium that came in after an explorer called Henry Morton Stanley. Basically, they couldn't get through the whole of Congo coming from the west coast because the Congolese river, the river Congo is the deepest on earth and one of the most ferocious rivers on earth. And when you get to a certain point inland, it just becomes mountains and waterfalls and you can't get up there. So they had to actually come in from Uganda and go that way. And when they found that there was actually a way that they could be able to take stuff from the jungles of Congo and then take it all the way to a place called Matadi or Boma, which is the west of Congo, and then take it up to Belgium and whatever, they were like, right, colonization time. So what Leopold had said is he was like, well, you know, we need to civilize these people. We need to bring them Jesus Christ, and we need to civilize these people. And with this civilization comes, I need to rule the place.
Right.
So he ruled the place until 1960. In 1960, Patrice Lumumba, may he rest in power. 1960, right? They ruled under brutal dictatorship and brutal colonialism. Till 1960, one of my heroes, Patrice Lumumba, may he rest in power, he brought the leaders, the king of Belgium at the time, to Congo, and they were supposed to be given this kind of speech to be like, oh, we're handing you back the country and it's been a great partnership. And he basically said to them, no, fuck you. You destroyed our country. What you have done is all of these things, and he humiliated in front of all of Congo and in front of all of the superpowers that are watching around the world, including the United States. He humiliated them, and they went, all right, bet. And then the next year they killed him. They had him murdered. And it was the CIA, and this is the thing where, you know, there's a conversation that's being had right now with a few people saying, well, you know, what do black Americans have to do with black Africans, right? It's like people here were indigenous to here, and we have nothing to do with, or I say, because I'm born in the Caribbean, which is part of the Americas, right? But what do North American indigenous black people have to do with America, have to do with Africa? But I'm like, well, if the CIA has funded around 40 different military coups in Africa, of which the USA has benefited from, of which then African Americans, though bottom of the barrel here is not bottom of the barrel in Congo, right? Have then been able to benefit from, though it's the crumbs of colonialism, they've still benefited from it. Like, this country is not going to be invaded by any other country because plutonium and uranium from Congo has been turned into nuclear missiles. So like, you know, as a man who lives in this country, and if you have an American passport, you know that you ain't about to be invaded by nobody else, and nobody's about to have war in your country right now, or this country right now, because Congolese minerals are protecting you, right? Whereas Congo doesn't have that luxury. Look at South Africa. When Mandela was now made the leader of South Africa, the South African government, which is a white racist apartheid government, had a nuclear missile program. They had a nuclear program. As soon as Mandela came in, they sent that missile up to India. They're like, no, we can't have Africans who have, because of how much money, how much gold was being taken out of South Africa and being brought to North America. They're like, we can't have these Negroes or these Africans.
Oh yeah, no hand on the button like that.
No, we can't have that. So when I'm looping all of this back round to saying protection is key, because if you can protect your resources, then you then have power. If you have resources but have no protection, you have no power. All you have is exploitation.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
Mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.